I'm so glad I decided to put on my pink glasses for this. This is so cute. I look cute. I feel cute. I got my maternity drawers on. Hi guys, welcome to my long-awaited 4-month pregnancy update. It's funny because the next update wasn't supposed to be at 4 months. I thought I was gonna like gradually do things like maybe every 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe even once a month, but it just didn't happen that way. I see all these other pregnant women like posting pregnancy updates regularly with their hair all done and their makeup all did, and they just I wanted that to be me so bad, but I just at the end of the day I wasn't built like them. I couldn't do it. Like even after my morning sickness stopped, it was still so hard to just do this, just sit down in front of a camera and talk for a long time. But I'm here now. I didn't want y'all to think that something happened. I'm still very pregnant, and I'm gonna just get into the important things that have happened from the time that I posted my pregnancy announcement to now. When I posted that announcement, I was a little over 7 weeks along at that point. So I was still experiencing morning sickness, and I was just having like a rare day every like 2.5 weeks where I felt good, and that's why I was able to sit down and do that. But I was like really shitty, feeling really shitty for most of that time. And in all honesty, my first trimester compared to most other women, especially the women that are in my birth club that I look at on this app, my first trimester was really not bad at all. Like I didn't throw up ever. Like I had the nausea all day, but I never threw up. And still to this point, like I haven't thrown up, I haven't had migraines, I haven't had any kind of constipation. In fact, my pregnancy poops have been some of the best poops I've ever taken, to be honest. So yeah, no constipation. I haven't dealt with mood swings. I've actually been a happier person, even going through the like morning sickness and just the general like draining that is pregnancy. I've still been a happier person, and like my mood has just been so even. It's almost like whatever hormones that are raging in my body right now kind of evened me out, which I really don't want to say because I don't want to like go back to having like low days or like not being happy most of the time after I give birth. I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, it's just like I just been kind of really chill. I mean, I'm always a even tempered person, but I don't know, like I'm just happy because I have a lot of things to be stressed about and worried about, and the non-pregnant today would be going crazy about those things constantly. And I've had like a couple of bad days, but for the most part I've been good. So, and when I say like the other women in my birth club had constipation to the point where they were becoming impacted and they had to go to the ER, and the doctor had to actually pull the shit out of them. That's how bad it was for them. So I haven't experienced none of that, thank God. Okay, let me look at my notes because a lot has happened, and I do have really bad pregnancy brain or mommy brain. So once I turned 9 weeks, that's when the morning sickness kind of very slowly, gradually started going away. So I would say it was fully gone at like 14 weeks. So yeah, gradually over 5 weeks it started fading away. But I immediately, like at 9 weeks, got my energy back. So even though I was still nauseous and I was still having food aversions, I actually still sometimes get nauseous after my first meal, just a little bit. I don't know why. I actually waited to eat breakfast today so that I wouldn't get nauseous and not feel like filming this video because it's been too long. But yeah, I got my energy back at 9 weeks where like I could get out of bed without walking like this and like go make meals and stuff in the kitchen without like and trying to hurry up and get back to my bed before I fall the fuck out. So yeah. Thank God for that. At around 11 weeks, I did have a little scare. And basically what happened was the day I turned 11 weeks, I started having spotting. And I had, the first day, I had just a little bit of bright red spotting when I wiped. It wasn't in my panties, like it wasn't dripping or anything, but when I wiped and I saw that bright red, I was terrified because so many other women in my birth club, like even though when you Google and when you talk to your doctor, they're like, oh, as long as you're not having any crazy cramps along with the bleeding and the bleeding isn't getting heavier, then it's not like a cause for worry. But so many other women in my birth club had just wiped, saw a little spotting, went to the ER and found out that they had a silent miscarriage. And I was so terrified because I hadn't seen my baby since my first ultrasound at 5 weeks when he was still just a little blob. So I didn't want to go to the doctor in like 2 weeks or whenever my next appointment was. I didn't want to go there and get an ultrasound and find out that my baby stopped growing 2 weeks ago, because that's what was happening to these women. I was like so scared of that. But yeah, I just had the bright red spotting the first day. Didn't see any of that for the rest of the day, so I'm like, okay. And I didn't have any abnormal cramping. But then the next day I had really dark brown spotting every time I wiped. And then the next day after that, it was like this gooey dark brown, like it was gooey discharge that was stained really dark brown. And then just the dark spotting again for the rest of the day. And then on the 4th day, when I peed, like this little ball of blood popped out. Like when I applied pressure to start peeing, this little tiny ball like this of blood just dropped out. It was like a solid ball. It was so weird. It didn't like splash or like fall apart or anything when it hit the water. It was just like this little ball, and I was like, okay, what the fuck was that? So yeah, at that point, I had a telehealth appointment the next day at the hospital that I was going to be switching over to. So I told her about that at that point in time, and she was like, oh well, the best thing to do, it doesn't sound worrisome to me, but I'm not gonna tell you that there's no chance of it being a miscarriage, because there is, which I knew. And she was like, the best thing you could do is just go to the ER, because I also needed to get like papers for my government assistance to get my health insurance. So she was like, the best thing you could do is go to the ER, and then you can see, make sure baby is okay, and you can also get those papers. So I'm like, okay, cool. We went to the ER that day. And when I got there, first of all, I didn't know that they make you like sit in a wheelchair. Like, no matter what, I guess if you're pregnant and something is wrong, you have to sit in a wheelchair. I don't know, they have to take, like, it's protocol, they have to take you up in a wheelchair. So I'm like, okay, this is making me feel like something is really wrong, even though I haven't seen the doctor yet and we don't know what's going on yet. But anyway, they wheeled me up, had to get in the hospital gown and everything. The first thing they did was put the fetal Doppler on me. And I knew, just from research and from what other women have said, that at that point in time, it's really hard, probably impossible to find the baby's heartbeat on a fetal Doppler, and so they actually recommend women not to use like those home Dopplers because it'll just terrify them into thinking something is wrong with their baby because they can't find the heartbeat. And so yeah, the 2 nurses in the ER were trying to find the heartbeat for like a good 10 minutes and couldn't find it. So even though I knew that information, I'm like, okay, this is not making me feel any better about what's going on. So I was scared even more at that point. But then they finally got me in to do the ultrasound. They did a pap smear first just to like rule out any other things that might have been causing the spotting, and then they did the ultrasound. And as soon as they did it and I saw a little baby pop up, I just burst into tears, y'all, because like I said, I hadn't seen my baby since he was still just a little blob. So seeing him actually with a head and arms and legs, it was like, oh my God, there's a little baby inside me. And also I had seen other women's 12-week ultrasound, so I knew exactly what he was supposed to look like. So when he actually did look like that, I was just like, oh, thank God. The funny thing is that he was the most active baby. Like, he was moving around so much they couldn't even get a clear picture for me. They got one, but like I said, it wasn't clear. And he was just like, every time they were about to take a picture and when they could see him really clearly, he just switched sides, or he did a somersault. Like, he was literally doing somersaults in there. It was crazy. But that just made me so happy because I'm like, my baby is super active, he's moving, he's good. So yeah, that's how that went. I was so thankful that he was okay. I didn't know I was gonna cry. They were like, are these tears of relief? And I'm like, oh, definitely, for sure, because he looks exactly how he's supposed to look. And they did end up finding out that the cause of the spotting was a yeast infection and mild, what was it? I think it was mild BV. But yeah, I wasn't like concerned about that because apparently yeast infections are really common when you're pregnant. So I'm like, okay, cool. And it actually was so mild that it cleared itself up on its own, like literally a day after that. I didn't have no more spotting or any other kind of weird symptoms, and everything has been good since then. I haven't had any spotting at all since then, and I'm 18 weeks and 4 days today. So another thing is that I have been gaining weight really fast, and it probably doesn't look like it because all of the way, I feel like some went to my face because my face was like a really fucking skinny, and like the bone structure was like pop, and I used to have fat cheeks, so I feel like my cheeks are fuller now. But the rest of the weight is definitely in my boobs, in my belly, and in my hips. I can see that my hips have spread a little. My belly is actually really big for somebody as far along as I am, because every other woman who posts pictures of their bump, they're either further along than me or 18 weeks as well, and their bellies are like still flat, or they just have like a little mound. And my belly, I feel like my belly is so big. But yeah, it's definitely all down there. I don't have tatas no more. I have breastises, like real breasts. You know, it's funny, when I was like 9 years old, I read this book. These little white girls saying that if you chant in the shower, it'll grow your breasts. And they go, we must increase our busts. And I used to do that. I used to do that when I was 9 because I wanted nice big breasts so bad. But like, yeah, my pregnancy breasts are literally perfect. I just look in the mirror when I'm naked before I'm about to get in the shower, and I just shake them, and I just dance with my belly. Like, I just love my pregnant body so much. So yeah, I've already gained, let's see, I've gained 19 or 20 pounds. I can't remember. I have to weigh myself again. But yeah, I thought maybe my scale was broken, but then I go to the doctor and they tell me the same thing, and I'm like, It's crazy because I don't feel like I have until I lay down for a long time, and then I get up and I gotta carry this big old belly around, and I'm like, oh yeah. Cause it's like all in front of me, so it's really hard. I'm not used to this. After my ER visit, I actually had my first in-person appointment at the hospital at 13 weeks. And that was when I saw my baby like up close on the ultrasound. And it was like longer and more in depth. She was like measuring, she saw his little feet. And at that ultrasound, he was bouncing around in my uterus like a wild child. She let me take a video. So I got a video of him like moving his little hand by his head. And then I got another small clip of him bouncing around. And he actually did this like probably 10 times while we were watching. We were just sitting there laughing like, oh my god, he won't stop. He won't stop bouncing around. But I just have this one clip of him bouncing. But yeah, just seeing that, how active my baby is, I don't know, he seems really happy and healthy, so obviously I'm really glad about that. Also at that appointment is when I got like my blood drawn for all of the genetic tests and everything, which also came back good. We're not at risk for anything, you know, such as like Down syndrome, stuff like that. We're not at risk for any of that. All right, so at around 16 weeks, I actually had to have a colposcopy. And if you don't know what a colposcopy is, it's basically like a pap smear. They do the same thing where they use a speculum, but they go a lot like further and they look like a lot closer at your cervix. And if they see any abnormal cells or anything on your cervix, then they might like do a biopsy just to make sure everything is all good. But yeah, I had to have that because the last 2 pap smears that I had, they couldn't get, like my samples weren't like enough to like get any results from, I guess. So they really couldn't tell me if they were abnormal or if they were normal. So we did that. They gave me the option to like just get another pap smear and then do that, but I'm like, I might as well do that anyway because I hate having speculums in me. So if I'm gonna get this pap smear and then end up having to get a colposcopy anyway, I'm like, let me just get the colposcopy now. So it was just really hard when they were like getting the speculum in there as far as they needed it to go. But after that, it was pretty okay. But yeah, when I got the colposcopy, she told me immediately after, she was like, okay, we're done. That was quick. I didn't see anything abnormal, so we don't even have to do a biopsy. From what I saw, everything looked very normal to maybe very slightly abnormal, which is good. So I'm like, great, because a lot of women get these and they find out they have HPV or cervical cancer, and obviously we don't want that, and I wanted my baby to be okay. So yeah, we were all good. Also around the 16-week mark, that is when I actually started to feel the little flutters of my baby moving around in my belly. I saw a woman the other day, she described the feeling of the flutters as like a little fish swimming around in your uterus, and I'm like, oh my god, that's the perfect description. Like, that's how I'm gonna start describing it to people, because people are always like, how do you know it's the baby? Because it does feel like gas. That's what we usually say, it feels like gas. And then I know if the feeling starts like moving lower and lower, like towards my butt and then I fart, then I know it's gas. But when that doesn't happen and it's just in the same spot, I know it's my baby. But yeah, it definitely feels like a little fish swimming around. It is the weirdest feeling, because it's like, you know there's a baby in there, but actually feeling somebody inside you like poking you is like, oh, it is just so crazy, y'all. So my last appointment was when I was a little over 17 weeks. And at that appointment, all I did was like, I mean, we talked about, you know, my health, my physical health, which by the way, everything has been perfect. Like, as far as my health, the baby's health and growth, my blood pressure, my mental, you know, everything has been perfect, like, so far. Like, every time I take my blood pressure, they're just like, wow, your blood pressure is beautiful. I'm like, well, good. Like, I'm just happy my pregnancy is low risk, and I want to keep it that way. But yeah, so we talked about all that. They weighed me again. Of course, every time I go, I've gained more weight. But yeah, I got to listen to my baby's heartbeat for the first time. I've always seen it on the ultrasounds I've gotten, but I've never actually listened to it. And at this point, they were able to pick it up on the Doppler. So listen to it on the Doppler. She found it instantly, and she said it sounded great. And then she was like, oh my God, all that noise. There was like little bumps and stuff. Like, you just hear all the noise he was making. She was like, that's your baby moving. I'm like, yeah. He's super active every time we look at him. At 18 weeks, which was 4 days ago, I felt my baby's first real kicks. I can tell that, like, my baby is more active than most babies, because all the other women and the doctors, they tell you, well, you won't start feeling flutters till around like 18 weeks, and I started feeling them like 2 weeks before that, and you won't start feeling baby's kicks until like 20 to 22 weeks, and I'm feeling them 2 weeks before that. I'm like, he really moves, because 4 days ago I was laying down in bed. I felt little flutters at first, but then I felt like a kick that I was actually able to see from the outside. I've never been able to see that even when he pokes me and stuff. Like, my belly doesn't move, but this time it was 3 strong kicks on the right side of my belly. I was holding my belly, I felt them, and I saw my belly move, and I was just like, oh my God. Like, a real legit kick. And it made me feel so good, because for one, I was actually having a bad day, and whenever I'm having a bad day or I'm just feeling down, it's like my baby just knows to get my attention and let me know, like, hi mommy, I'm here, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm good, we're gonna be okay. And he just starts poking and prodding me, and he gave me 3 strong kicks that day. So I'm like, I know he was like, look, snap out of it. We're gonna be okay. I swear my baby knows when I'm upset. He's very smart. He's very advanced. My next appointment is actually going to be my 20-week anatomy scan, which is probably, I don't know, to me that seems like the most exciting appointment, because you get to see like it's like an extended ultrasound, and they do a lot more like measuring. You get to look at your baby for so much longer, and I cannot wait to see him. I haven't seen him in 5 weeks, and I just want to see how much he's progressed since then. Like, I'm so excited. And also, you get to find out the sex of your baby. Like, I call my baby he and him, and that's because I strongly feel that it's a boy. So we'll find out for sure. Other people have been telling me, like, well, half the people tell me, well, that's that mommy's intuition, you're probably right. Then the other half are like, nah, it's a girl, you want it to be a boy so bad, it's gonna be a girl. And I'm like, it's not that I necessarily want it to be a boy so bad, I'm gonna be happy regardless. Like, my baby is gonna be perfect whether it's a boy or a girl, and I'm gonna treat them and raise them the same no matter what. But I just really feel like it's a boy. I don't know, like, I just know in my heart. But we're gonna find out for sure in a couple of weeks. And that's actually, they told me that's gonna be my last ultrasound, because I'm low risk. So unless something comes up, which we do not want to happen, that is gonna be my last one at the hospital. Of course, I could go to like a private, you know, get a private ultrasound and like a 3D type thing, which I'm probably gonna do, because 20 weeks is a really long time to go without seeing my baby. I really don't want to do that. Like, I be missing him right after I see him. So I don't see myself not getting an ultrasound in 20 weeks. That's the update, y'all. Like, everything is going so well pregnancy wise. Like, me and my baby are so good, and that's all I could ask for, because I feel like we all kind of go into pregnancy just worrying about all the complications that can come up, and that was a big thing for me, because like I said, my uterus has scared me a little bit over the past years. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but literally everything has been pretty perfect. I can't complain. Like, I'm really happy about it. So now I'm gonna show you guys my bump. Got my belly out anyway. So this is my 18-week 4-day bump. And this is before eating. I haven't eaten anything yet. So once I eat, it'll be like out here and this will fill out a little bit. But yeah, this is 18 weeks. My baby is like down here. Whenever I get an ultrasound and I start moving my pants down, they're like, oh, you can stop right there. But then when they start looking for him, they ask me to slide him down some more because he's like all the way down here. And I got my, what is it, linea nigra? Is that how you pronounce it? So yeah. My baby's gonna be so pretty. I can't wait. Yeah, I'll try to come back. Oh, I'm definitely gonna come back for the gender reveal. Like, I have to tell you guys what I'm having. So that'll be the next pregnancy update video, the gender reveal, in a couple of weeks. All right, thank you guys for watching. If there are any other mommies out there who are pregnant right now, let me know how far along you are. If you're having any complications, if you found out the gender, just talk. Like, all I read about and talk about now is pregnancy, so just tell me everything. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.